Okay, Cranium Crew, Club Cranium. We still got to decide on what we're going to call ourselves, or either one's fine. I don't believe in the no-win scenario. I know a lot of times we talk about audiophiles and whether we're a budget audiophile or we invest you know significant amounts of money into our hobby. Either one is good. This is a judgment-free zone. But what got us into equipment was some kind of music, a song, a band, and for me it was this one, the Rolling Stones, 1981, "Start Me Up," and I was hooked. And they've been the soundtrack to my life, basically. Yeah, I listen to other music, and people would say, there's got to be something better after all this time. And the way I quote him what Keith Richards says, "I ain't heard it yet," and that's for me. I enjoy lots of bands and genres, but I always come back to this band here, and I affectionately call them the world's only rock and roll band. So prove me wrong. As Derek says, bleep bloop in the comments there, and tell me what song or what band got you hooked on music and then audio equipment. Now, if you're a budding audiophile or an established one, and you're excited about your hobby, and people go, "What's an audiophile?" You can joke around a little bit and say, an audiophile. You start off by explaining what one isn't. Someone will just say, a regular fan goes, "I use equipment to listen to music. I need a pair of headphones. I need an amp to play the music I enjoy." An audiophile uses music to enjoy their equipment, um, and you'll probably fall somewhere, in between the two. But on Friday, the band released their 25th studio album. It's called Foreign Tongues, and it's a follow-up to an album they put out in 2023 called Hackney Diamonds that won a Grammy. And everybody says, is the album any good? Is it as good as Let It Bleed, XL on Main Street, Some Girls? The answer is no, because it can't be. Because we change. Our tastes evolve, and life experiences change us, just like the band does. And while people joke around about the band being a nostalgia touring band, Mick Jagger is always about pushing the envelope forward, where Keith Richards, his songwriting partner, is all about the feel, the groove. And I think it's that friction between the two of them is what gives us this great, great sound. I'm going to go over each track here and give you my initial thoughts on it. And if you guys are fans of this album and are fans of this band, give it a listen and pop back in the comments and tell us what tracks grabbed you, or if you didn't like the record, or what your favorite Rolling Stones album is, or what else you listen to when you think of Mick and Keith. Yeah, let's have a friendly convo. So this album has 14 tracks. 10 of them were recorded at Metropolis Studio in London, England, and 4 of them were recorded in different locations during the Hackney Diamonds sessions. And one of them still has the late, great Charlie Watts, who is sorely missed. Now, Steve Jordan, the replacement drummer, was handpicked by Charlie when he got sick to replace him. And while he can't replace him, he's qualified to sit at that riser. And I think he's injected new life into the band in terms of tempo. And you'll hear it if you've been to any concerts. Okay. So track 1, you'll see me move this arrow up and down on the screen. You'll see that little pointer beside Rough and Twisted. Rough and Twisted was their first track that they released on this. And it's a blues rock barn burner. And it was the first song that they recorded with producer Andy Watt in London. And Andy Watt is the wonderkind producer of the day. Ozzy Osbourne, Paul McCartney, Elton John, all Don Was, all recommended to Mick and Keith that he's the producer. So he knows the Rolling Stones music, the licks, the riffs. He's a big fan, and he can get the most out of a band. He's keeps them disciplined enough, and to tell them what's good and what isn't, and the results show. This album is better because they did record the bulk of it in 30 days versus, we'll get it done tomorrow kind of thing. So Rough and Twisted, a barn burner. Love it. It's probably in my top 5 or top 10 of the tracks on this album. Track 2 is In the Stars. And this is more of what you think of a Rolling Stones song when you hear it. It's instantly recognizable. For Keith and Ronnie say they call it the ancient form of weaving on their guitar playing. They'll trade licks and riffs back and forth, and they'll be in the recording studio playing a track back, and they'll say, "Hey, that bit was good. Who did that?" "I did." And they both put their hands up. And they've asked, Ronnie Wood, who's the better guitarist between him and Keith, and he'll joke, "Well, everybody knows it's me." They'll ask Keith the same question, and he'll say, "Well, separately, neither one of us, is no good, but together, we're better. We're better than 10 guitar players can't beat us." So Mick wrote this song and pretty much had it mapped out, but he needed a riff, a recognizable riff that yep, that's a Stone song. And Keith says, "I put it in," and we got that. Jealous Lover, when I first listened to it, I kind of went, I don't know. Mick was doing his falsetto thing, like Emotional Rescue, and he stays in that style of singing through the whole track, where some people are thinking it would have worked better if he'd have just went back and forth between his falsetto. He wrote the song on his piano in France, as he likes to put it, and he says he only knows 5 chords. So he's writing the song and singing the chorus, Jealous Lover, and the phone rings, and it's their producer, Andy Watt. And so Jagger tells the story and curses, and "Andy, I'm writing a song," and sings him the chorus. And then he says, that's good, finish that off, and ended the phone call. But it's quite grown on me. It talks about the title, Jealous Lover. And I think, while they won't admit it, I think the band is feeling their age. Whereas before, when they were younger, girls threw themselves at them. And now that they're in their 80s, there's younger guys that they may end up competing against. So, the songs are better for it, that they're aging, right? The next one down, Mr. Charm, by far, favorite track on the album for myself. Jagger talks about writing songs, and he called it 4 on the floor day, that's a beat. So dance tracks, Miss You is 4 on the floor. And he just was singing the chorus, Mr. Charm, repeatedly, and it morphed into this rock punk fusion type song with a hypnotic chorus, and you can't help but tap your feet and smile. This song kind of reminds me when Some Girls came out, and everybody went, "Hey, this is disco," and how dare, oh, hey, I really like this. And now people look at Some Girls as a great reinvention of the Stones back in 1978, 48 years ago. Wow. The next track is Divine Intervention. I don't know. I'll let you guys decide over that one. I think this is a track where, Mick Jagger stayed in his own way. And it's clever chorus, clever lyrics, but this to me is overproduced, overmixed. But the next track, Ringing Hollow, it's going back and forth. It's probably 2 or 3 on the album. It's a country track, and the Stones have written some amazing country songs, and I'm surprised that none of them have ever made it. to country hit radio. Ringing Hollow is about a Jagger says it's like the relationship with the United States, and how as a young man, he was in love with the U.S. and went on tour because they loved the Black African American blues music and Elvis and all of that energy of the time. But now he talks about the relationship souring, and it's great playing, great guitar playing by Ronnie, and you can hear the sadness in the lyrics where they talk about the way it was and the way it is now, and that desire to go back to the way the relationship was, and that it's not too late, to get there. Never Want to Lose You. Haven't decided yet. A lot of very similar to Divine Intervention. Hit Me in the Head, the next one down. This song was co-written by Mick and Keith and Andrew Watt, and it's quite the honor to get songwriting credit with the Glimmer Twins, which is Mick and Keith. And it's a very up-tempo track. I like it when I listen to it, and sometimes I go, wow, this is a real departure from what you think the band would do. And I guess it's what kind of mood you're in. Give it a few listens, and tell us what you think in the comments below. You Know I'm No Good is an Amy Winehouse cover, and it's a joy. When 20 years ago, they were asking Mick, what songs were on his iPod. Everybody remember them? iPods, he was saying Amy Winehouse, and he circled back to her after he mentioned a few other bands. And they were on tour, doing their Bigger Bang tour, 2005, 2006, 2007. And Amy actually came out and sang a track with them, Ain't Too Proud to Beg. But she was in the throes of a heroin addiction. She was really sick, and the performance suffered for it. And she knew it. And Keith actually did an intervention on her. And the joke is, when Keith Richards is coming to you, you need to do something. Unfortunately, her sickness got her, and she passed away at 27, and is a sad member of the 27 Club. Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Brian Jones, original member of the Rolling Stones. But the Stones started as a cover band, and when they do a cover song, and they make it their own. Just My Imagination, the Temptations track. Going to a Go-Go, Smokey Robinson. There's all kinds of different tracks that they've covered, and they're their songs. And it's the same thing with You Know I'm No Good. And instead of on Amy's version where there's a brass or a horn section, Jagger uses and plays his harmonica. And it's just great. I'll play it a couple times in a row when I'm giving the record a listen. The next one down is called Some of Us, and this is Keith's outing. He always sings a track or two on the album, and this one is revelatory to me, if I'm using that word correctly. It's just, it grabs you. Keith is all about feel, vibe, and the chorus goes, some of us are on our knees here, and you can almost hear them. You can imagine them sitting in a bar, smoking cigarettes and ashtrays, ice clinking in the glasses, and the bartender pouring the shot. It's just a great track, okay? Covered in You, the next one on the album. That's Mick's go round to compete with Some of Us, and I think it was a great choice to put them one after the other, side by side on this record. And it's very similar, the Covered in You. It's again another love song, not gone wrong, but how relationships aren't aren't perfect. You know, they can get messy, and I quite enjoy it. Side effects, I just give it a skip. I'll listen to it. It's got a bit of a hypnotic chorus to it, but probably for myself, probably the weakest track. And again, I think this is where they went for it, and it got overproduced or overmixed or overdubbed, or Mick wouldn't get out of the way. Back in Your Life, a stellar track to really, I know it's the second to last track, but for me, it's the last track on the album. And just a beautiful song. I don't even know how to describe it. Like the lyrics, like the music, they really, you know, close this out well. And then the last track, Beautiful Delilah, is a Chuck Berry tune. And if you talk to any guitarist, you know, they'll say you'll scratch at them and you'll see Chuck Berry's influence on it. And it's recorded live in a room, you know, minimal microphones. And it's, you know, a great way for the Stones to give a nod to what inspired Keith. And they all love Chuck Berry. And Keith tells a story about how he went to touch Chuck Berry's guitar, and there's a name for it. The name escapes me. And he went to touch it, and Chuck Berry caught him and punched him right in the mouth. Don't touch my kit. So it's a lot of fun to listen to that, and I always have a smile on my face at the end of it when I listen to that. And there is a bonus track on iTunes that they recorded back in 2015 with Charlie Watts. It's called Bad Luck Hideaway. And to me, it's a song that, I wish you could buy it separately, but you have to buy the whole album. So if you decide that, you know, after listening to this and previewing it on iTunes, buy it. But Bad Luck Hideaway, to me, it's like if Jimmy Buffett and the Stones hung out on a vacation, and it's Saturday night, they're at the poolside bar, and they write this song, and you can just imagine people at the bar singing the chorus, Bad Luck Hideaway. And a lot of us that are, you know, this is the world's only rock and roll band fans, were quite upset that it couldn't be bought separately, and some of us are quite upset. Now, I don't get too wound up about it, but said, you know, it should have been included on the main release, and if there was no room for it, you know, Hit Me in the Head could have went out of the way, or Side Effects could have gotten out of the way and made that the bonus track. So let's talk about that. If you're iOS folks or iTunes guys or people, and you bought the album there, let's talk about Bad Luck Hideaway. And if there's enough comments below, we'll do a bit of a deep dive into the track. All right, so that's it. The Rolling Stones, Foreign Tongues. I'm going to put this up right away. I know it's just this video here. I will recut it with interfaces with me and make the video more interesting. But if you're making your cup of coffee this morning, or you're puttering around the house, you know, this is a great podcast, I think, episode. We're growing this channel, Cranium Crew. So if you like what we're doing here, consider liking and subscribing. It's the free way to help us grow this channel for talking about hi-fi stuff that punches above its weight class. We're going to get a bit aspirational and review some higher end stuff. You may notice my streamer in the bottom right corner. It's from Eversolo, and that's about $1,500 Canadian, or $1,100 Canadian. And I heard it at a friend's and went, oh my God, I gotta have one, and I bought 2 of them. So we'll talk about that. But I use my own money, folks. when I buy a set of headphones or a DAC, and we're going to talk about, should I keep it, should you guys buy it, or should I send it back? So what do you think? Did you buy Foreign Tongues? Did you like Foreign Tongues? Have I had any influence on you here? To go out and give it a listen, because if you subscribe to Apple Music or Qobuz or Amazon Music, give it a listen. Tell us what you think. This one here is on Blu-ray audio. Some of the complaints about listening on Qobuz and Amazon and Apple Music is the music gets compressed. So on a Blu-ray audio, there's a Dolby Atmos mix here. There's a DTS mix and a stereo mix. Now, I don't have any Dolby Atmos kit. I'm a 2-channel guy, so I just played it in stereo, and I think that's the best way to listen to this stuff. You start doing things in Atmos and 5.1, it takes you out of that live feeling in the room. So that's a little bit about Blu-ray audio, and a little bit of the difference on DTS and stereo and what have you. So yeah, let's grow this channel, slow but steady, and subscribing is free, and it's a way to get, if you like what we're doing here, it's a way for you to help spread the word. It doesn't cost you anything. And I think we can grow a great community here on YouTube that isn't just spec crazy. We can go back and forth and do things like, let's talk about music. We'll talk about streaming sessions or streaming services. We'll talk about budget gear, midline gear, a little bit higher end. And we'll go really aspirational and get some very esoteric stuff to listen to cater to our group of fans or subscribers. And hit the like button and get the notification for when I put up new videos. I'm trying to put up a new video once a week, twice a week, every 10 days. I'm new at this, so the production values may not be as good as some of the other slick guys out there. But I'm hoping that's part of what the charm is. But I promise I'll get better. I'm learning how to edit. I'm learning how to use multiple cameras and using editing software to make this more entertaining. Okay, it's Sunday morning where I am, approaching lunchtime. So if it's Sunday morning where you are, give Foreign Tongues a listen if you're on a streaming service. If you're a fan of the band, run out and buy the CD or buy the vinyl, or buy, this was a limited edition kit, Blu-ray audio disc, stereo CD, regular CD, and some fancy posters and all that stuff. I'll do a quick little short on what the packaging the album came in. And so for everybody that's with us, that stayed with us, great, thank you. If you're new here, you're welcome here. And if you've been with us since the beginning, thank you very much. This has been a passion project for me. All right, happy Sunday. Cheers, everybody.